And here we go, okay? The Chicago Bears reportedly have already had conversations about potentially hiring Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh if they move off of current head coach Matt Eberflus. What's going on, guys? So I'm back with another Chicago Bears news update video, and we got a little bit of a tidbit of information last night, or last afternoon actually, from Diana Russini of The Athletic on the Colin Cowherd show, okay? So according to her, the Chicago Bears have already had some conversations about Harbaugh if they decide to move on from Matt Eberflus, and I unfortunately can't play the video for you guys on YouTube here because Fox would copyright strike me, so I'd encourage you guys to look on the Colin Cowherd show, and about at the 250 mark of the video they have posted on their YouTube with Diana Russini, you can see the segment where they're talking about Jim Harbaugh potentially being a candidate in mind for the Chicago Bears to hire after they presumably move off of Matt Eberflus after the season is over. Now, Diana Russini is a trusted voice in the NFL world, so she would not just be making these things up out of thin air. I know that Colin Cowherd does not have the best reputation in regards to his sources, but Diana Russini has her own sources, which many times have been accurate. So I would believe these reports about the Bears having some type of conversations about Jim Harbaugh, as they should, okay? Because the Bears probably are going to have a head coaching opening at the end of the season, unless we see something crazy happening out of this Bears team down the stretch. If they somehow win a lot of games and go to 9-8 on the season, win out, then yeah, maybe you could entertain keeping Eberflus. But I feel like we've seen way too much bad out of Coach Eberflus, bad coaching decisions, bad coaching mistakes throughout the last year and a half to really keep him around for the long term. I know that things are turning around, his defense is looking better, but unless we see more growth throughout the rest of the season, I really do not feel like we should keep Eberflus for the long term just because of half of a season of the defense turning it around. So if the Bears do have a head coaching opening, Jim Harbaugh, I think in many Bears fans' minds, would be the number one candidate on their list. And the big difference here as opposed to 2 years ago, because you guys have to remember 2 years ago, we also had a head coaching opening. Jim Harbaugh was a potential candidate we could have hired, but the Bears did not even give him an interview. I think things are going to be different this time around, because last time around, we did not get any reports about the Bears actually being interested in Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh was interested in the Chicago Bears, but that interest was not reciprocated for whatever reason, okay? So the fact that we're getting reports about the Bears already having conversations about him so early in the coaching cycle, I think is a good sign if you want Jim Harbaugh to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears. And I think there's a couple of reasons why they might be interested in him this time around when they weren't interested in him last time around. One of the biggest ones has to be Kevin Warren being the president of the Chicago Bears, as crazy as that sounds. I know that much has been said about Kevin Warren and Jim Harbaugh not having the best relationship, because you guys have to remember, Kevin Warren was the Big Ten commissioner back during the COVID period, and a lot of players, a lot of coaches, including Justin Fields, Jim Harbaugh, were heavily opposed to the cancellation of the season. Now, eventually they ended up playing a shortened season, but a lot of coaches and players were not happy about Kevin Warren's decision at that point in time. Now, COVID is probably not going to happen ever again, knock on wood, right? Like, that was a crazy time period where, nobody really knew what to do. So I don't believe that Jim Harbaugh and Kevin Warren are so strained in the relationship that they're not even going to be on speaking terms, right? Because we have not gotten any reports that suggest that, okay? The only reports we have gotten were that, yeah, players and coaches like Justin Fields, like Jim Harbaugh, did not, want to cancel any games. And yeah, that's fine, okay? People have differing opinions, but I don't think those differing opinions, strain the relationship as much as people have made it out to be. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's anything to suggest that Kevin Warren is, enemies with Jim Harbaugh or anything of the sort. Yeah, they had differing opinions, but everybody at some point in their lives has differing opinions with people that they work with. And the fact that Kevin Warren is a forward-thinking, aggressive guy that's coming from a pretty good organization in the Minnesota Vikings, who made many good moves during his time as president there, I think does help the case of the Bears making a big-time move at head coach. And make no mistake about it, guys, hiring Jim Harbaugh would be a big-time move at head coach, which the Bears have not made really any time in their recent history, okay? Jim Harbaugh is a proven head coach. So, I think that Kevin Warren's desire to turn the Bears around really fast and become a championship-level organization, pretty soon, I think that could play into the Bears finally being aggressive enough to go for it and hire the big name head coach that they have shied away from hiring in their recent past. So I think Kevin Warren does change things, because before we only had George McCaskey, and Ryan Poles, obviously, but now Kevin Warren is the top guy in charge. I know it's still George McCaskey technically, but George does not know football as much as Kevin Warren does or Ryan Poles does. So I think the addition of Kevin Warren definitely does help things. And another reason why the Bears might be interested in him now as opposed to last time around is that they have to be getting sick of taking swings on unproven head coaches. Okay, there's going to be a lot of hot, sexy names at coordinator for the Bears to hire at head coach. For example, Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator of the Lions, Bobby Slowick of the Texans. You got defensive guys too, like Mike McDonald of the Ravens. Really good coordinators, don't get me wrong, but as we Bears fans have seen, being a good coordinator does not make you a good head football coach. And even though it would be exciting to take a chance on a hotshot coordinator, why not just hire a proven head football coach? Okay, Jim Harbaugh's record speaks for itself. He is the only proven guy in this head coaching cycle. If you look at his record in college football, obviously at Michigan he's had a lot of success, some success at Stanford as well. As college record is 141-52. Okay, a big winner at the college level, could maybe win the national championship this year depending on how Michigan's playoffs go. And if you look at his NFL record, okay, the most important thing in the NFL with the 49ers back about 10 years ago, so yes, it has been some time since then, but his record was 49-22-1. Okay, he took over a struggling 49ers team, got them to the NFC Championship game immediately, went to the Super Bowl in year 2, went to another NFC Championship game after that. Then he finished 8-8 in his final season, and he went to, college football. But still, okay, the fact that he went to that many NFC title games, the Bears had not been to an NFC title game since 2010, okay? So he would be a proven winner of the sort that the Bears have not had in a long, long time. And one more big thing, guys, is that he beats the Green Bay Packers, okay? He has the undefeated record against the Green Bay Packers as head coach. 5-0 against the Green Bay Packers. They used to own the Packers back in the day with those Colin Kaepernick teams, in the playoffs and also in the regular season. So, we know how important being the Packers is to the McCaskey family, and we have not been able to do that really any time, as of late. So I know that was 10 years ago, right? So we can't just say that's going to automatically happen again. But the fact that he was able to beat the Green Bay Packers, in the college level also, he's been able to beat his rivals 3 times in a row now. Ohio State Buckeyes, they've basically owned the Buckeyes now as of late. So this is a guy that knows how to win at every level of football, knows how to beat his rivals. And I do believe that his style of football still works in today's NFL, okay? His style of football is a physical, dominant, imposing team at the line of scrimmage, okay? If you look at Michigan, what they are right now, they're a physical, bullying team up front on both the offensive and defensive lines. And if you look at the NFL right now, who are the best teams in football? Okay, the 49ers, the Eagles, both of which have some of the best offensive and defensive lines in the NFL. And the fact of the matter is that Jim Harbaugh teams are always really well coached and bought in, okay? There's not a single player on the Michigan team right now that would not give up their life basically for Jim Harbaugh. If you look at his coaching staffs too, okay, Sharon Moore, the offensive coordinator of the Michigan Wolverines right now, okay, taking over during the suspension of Jim Harbaugh. He was in tears after the first game he took over because he was that happy that he got the win for his head coach, Jim Harbaugh, while he was out. So this guy has an effect on people that very few people in this world do, okay? Very few coaches in this world can have the effect on their players and their coaching staffs as Jim Harbaugh does, because he gets people to buy in immediately, and the Chicago Bears need a guy like that. So I think that's why the Bears, might be interested in hiring him right now. And talking about the reasons why Jim Harbaugh might want to leave Michigan and come to the Chicago Bears, well, the biggest one obviously is going to be he might be fed up with the NCAA. College football is full of a lot of politicking, and right now the NCAA does not like Jim Harbaugh, okay? They suspended him 2 times in the same season, one for recruiting violations, one time for the sign stealing scandal, the whole Connor Stallions thing, whatever happened with that, okay? He got suspended for 3 of the biggest games of Michigan's schedule, and he also got suspended for 3 games earlier on in the season, and he is just not in the NCAA's good graces right now. Partly also because he was one of the biggest proponents for revenue sharing with the players, which obviously a lot of big and wealthy people at the top of the NCAA, some administrators as well, probably we're not the biggest fans of, okay? Him trying to share the revenue with the players because that's less revenue for the guys at the top. So between the violations, between the revenue sharing thing, he's made some enemies with the NCAA, and he could be suspended further next season, if they want to suspend him further for the whole sign stealing scandal that happened this year. So he might be getting fed up with all the politicking, all the violations, all the rules, regulations of the NCAA. And I'm not saying there's not rules and regulations in the NFL and there's not politicking in the NFL. There definitely is, but it's to a lesser level than it is in college football. So that could be one reason why he wants to leave college football. Another reason could be that he might have reached his peak at Michigan this year. Okay, the Michigan Wolverines very well could win the national championship. And if you want Jim Harbaugh to be the head coach of the Bears, I think you should be rooting for that to happen, because if he wins it all at Michigan, with the sign stealing scandal still ongoing, with, him not being in the NCAA's good graces, maybe he could choose to leave on top, okay? Because I don't think he's going to have much better teams than the one he has in Michigan right now, okay? He has a good quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. He has good play, NFL level players on both offense and defense right now. And yes, he's still going to have good teams in the future at Michigan, but I think he might feel that he's reached his peak in Michigan if they win it all this year, okay? It's really hard to go back to back like Georgia did, and, especially with the college football realignment, with, more teams being inserted into the Big Ten, you're going to have harder schedules, and it might be a little bit tough to, be at the top the way you were this year. So maybe he could go to the NFL after winning it all. And he has always had dreams, guys, of going to the NFL, okay? I think that a lot of people reported in the past that Jim Harbaugh's number one goal as a coach is to win the Super Bowl, okay? Obviously, winning a national championship at his alma mater, Michigan, would be fantastic. It would be a dream of his. But winning the Super Bowl is a totally different beast that I think he's also, really wanting to achieve. So plenty of reasons for him to leave college football right now. And many trusted college football insiders have said that they expect Jim Harbaugh to leave Michigan this year. Okay, Bruce Feldman said that he would be surprised if Jim Harbaugh is the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines next year. Joel Klatt said on the Colin Cowherd show that he also thinks that there's a decent chance that he could be leaving Michigan this year. So a lot of people around college football think the time for Jim Harbaugh to leave is right now. And why would he choose the Chicago Bears? Well, there's plenty of reasons, and the biggest one is that he has a history with the Chicago Bears. Okay, he was drafted by the Bears in 1987 out of Michigan, and he played for the Bears until 1993, and it was there where he met one of his biggest mentors, Mike Ditka, okay, one of the greatest coaches in Chicago Bears history. He learned a lot from that coach, and even during his introductory press conference at Michigan, he brought up Mike Ditka and kind of honored him there and said he learned a lot from him. So he clearly does love the Chicago Bears as an organization. They were the first to actually believe in him out of college, so maybe he wants to repay the favor. And another big reason why he would choose the Bears is that the Bears are one of the biggest brands in all of football, okay? If you're going to leave a big brand like Michigan, okay, Michigan is one of the biggest brands in all of football as well, you probably want to go to another big brand, and the Chicago Bears are that big brand. He previously coached for the 49ers, also another big brand. I mean, Jim Harbaugh is a big name guy, so these guys don't go to like lower level teams like the Jaguars or something. No disrespect to the Jaguars. I mean, the Chicago Bears are a founding franchise of the NFL, and if you turn around the Chicago Bears, guys, you will be worshipped like a god in the city, okay? I'm not even kidding. We still sing the praises of the 1985 football team, which I was not even alive to watch that team. We still long for the days of Lovie Smith, who left this team more than 10 years ago now at this point. So the Chicago Bears fan base is desperate and hungry for a winner. They want a proven head football coach, and I think that Jim Harbaugh knows that, right? Like, he knows that he would be worshipped in the city, especially if he actually won anything, which is why I think he has a lot of interest in joining the Chicago Bears. You guys have to remember, again, 2 years ago, there's a lot of reports about Jim Harbaugh being interested in the Bears coaching job, but the Bears did not even give him a head coaching interview. I hope we do not make the same mistake 2 times in a row. Let me know what you guys think about these rumors in the comments down below. Do I think that the Bears will actually hire Jim Harbaugh? I do think there's a decent chance. I'm not going to say that it's a given or that I expect it to happen, because I really don't know. Okay, Jim Harbaugh would want some power in player personnel decisions too, and I'm not sure if Ryan Poles, if Kevin Warren want to give up any of that power. But to such a good head coach like Jim Harbaugh, maybe you would be okay with sacrificing a little bit of your power. And maybe Jim Harbaugh also would be sacrificing a little bit of his want of power if he wants to come to the NFL, right? Because he had a chance to go to the NFL 2 years ago, but it seemed like every team turned him down. Okay, the Vikings turned him down at the last second. So if he truly does want to be an NFL coach, maybe he's going to have to come to terms with the reality that this is not college football. Okay, you cannot control the entire roster, but you can work with your GM and identify players that you might want, and hopefully the GM, works with you and gets those players on your football team. Leave your comments down below. I'd be pretty excited personally if we do hire Jim Harbaugh. I think he's #1 on my wish list as well, just because he is a proven head football coach at every level. Hopefully we're able to get him. As always, guys, bear down.